Did you catch that? There was one word that we all started learning a lot about during this election. Jedediah Collins here with the Money Vehicle Movement podcast, where we're trying to make financial literacy more current and possibly even a little cooler. It was a word you're going to be hearing a lot of in the coming weeks, months, and maybe even years. That word, tariff. Let's be clear. In most cases, tariffs are anything but Tariff for consumers. Did you get that? Terrific. Tariff. Okay. But we get into that in a minute. Let's talk about what exactly tariffs are. In a nutshell, a tariff is a tax imposed on an imported good levied by the importing country. So if you bought a car, for example, in China, the government was levying a 20% tariff on goods from China. You'd be paying whatever the car price was plus the 20% tariff. The price of the car would go to the company selling it, and the 20% tariff would go to, in this case, the United States government. In effect, tariffs make things more expensive to bring into your country. The reason that you're hearing about tariffs now is because President elect Donald Trump has made tariffs a key point in his economic plans when he takes office in January. We don't know exactly what the plans are just yet, but he has voiced support for putting tariffs on goods from all over the world. That would again make a whole lot of things that are made outside of the United States more expensive to bring into the United States. So, why would President Trump, soon to be President Trump, want to do that? What is the goal of tariffs? To keep it simple, because there is a lot of political back and forth on these topics, tariffs are an attempt to try and lure manufacturers and producers back to creating things here on the homeland, the United States. Many companies make things, toys, clothes, and all sorts of stuff in other countries. They generally do this because it's cheaper than making it here on US soil. For example, if you operated a clothing factory in Ohio, you would need to abide by Ohio's safety and environmental rules and regulations and pay workers at least the prevailing minimum wage of Ohio State. If you operate your factory in another country, those rules and regulations and minimum wage, well, they may not pertain to you. This allows you to create those products at a much cheaper price point. But if you put tariffs on the clothing as it's being imported, that clothing becomes more expensive to you, the consumer. Perhaps as expensive or nearly as expensive as clothing that would be made in the United States. So it may be beneficial or make financial sense for companies to produce clothes here rather than abroad with those tariffs. Yes, this plays into President elect Trump's Make America Great Again by bringing businesses and forcing them to create things here in our country. Again, that's the primary logic behind this initiative. It doesn't always work out that way, and there are a lot of other factors that can be involved. We have all started to understand the domino effect of the economy. One decision, one change will impact everything. And there is very little, if any, economic changes that are going to not impact the dominoes behind them. The concern some have when it comes to tariffs, though, is that it could slow the economy significantly and drive prices higher. That means inflation becomes a big problem once again. Even though we just went through a significant bout of inflation and it all has experts and economists questioning how to implement this new tariff concept equally. Yes, we want to bring jobs back, but no, we don't exactly want to pass the cost to consumers. It's important to keep in mind, though, that we don't really know what's going to happen yet from a political or economical standpoint. We already levy tariffs on some countries and for some goods. They're a form of protectionism for certain industries. But tariffs are a sort of old school tool that aren't often used or talked about on a broad scale like we just saw in the election. All of that could change, which is why it's important that you know what they are, know how they're used, and now it is up to you to decipher why they will be used. There is no tariff on knowledge, so enjoy this inflation free education. Keep driving your money vehicle, and we will see you at the next stop.